I can't imagine being forced to flee my home country, all because my life as well as my freedom are being threatened by a system that exists. In this documentary that we're about to review, titled Alganesh, we are confronted with this very reality. The story is retold to us by Dr. Alganesh Fessah. Tell us of a story of the lives of Eritrean refugees who fled their country because of the political situation. Now, Dr. Alganesh is herself Eritrean, and she committed her life essentially to helping the most destitute and fragile of these refugees establish their lives afresh in Ethiopia. We have explored topics of human trafficking, stories of forced military or conscription into the military. It's really been heartbreaking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, there's so much rich history, well, lack of a better phrase, to Eritrea itself, but so much of it is unknown. It's relatively unknown, except for the fact that it was colonized by Italy. In modern history, it's been Italy and Ethiopia alike, but through its challenges and 30 years of actual civil war between Eritrea and Ethiopia, you would suppose that I think that's like 3 generations of people that have lived through war would want peace, and it's very sad since I found it quite coincidental that their Independence Day coincides with our Freedom Day.
I know, it's like, yo.
It's amazing. It's amazing, and those are things which us would take it as something that would be, I suppose, positive and inspiring for a better society, and the betterment of society itself. But sadly, Eritrea didn't live up to its expectations, even though it had a whole nationwide solidarity where people looked and saw each other as Eritreans before Christians or Eritrean Italians or any other native or ethnic group, But now they're going through a repressive military dictatorship, and for like 20, what years? 7, 8?
27 years.
27 years. It's a long time. It's a long time, and it's sad that people are actually trying to escape that. I mean, kids.
It is really sad. Like, it's heartbreaking knowing, like, yes, this was filmed in like 2018, but just the reality of what it was then, you know what I mean? Things have changed a bit, but to know that like kids from as young as 4 were running away from their home country, leaving, I guess some of them, their parents being left behind, arrested at the border. It's so heartbreaking that people have had to go through this.
Yeah, it's sad that we've been so desensitized towards the whole slavery thing.
Yeah.
Slavery and human trafficking, and when you get to actually see people that have gone through that have lived in refugee camps, and I couldn't help, I found it rather, I don't know, puzzling, in a sense that in South Africa, shanty towns are just townships,
Yeah.
We consider them townships, but in actual reality, other countries, that's how refugee camps are.
Yeah, I won't lie. That was also great. This is I guess it's like a good thing that they don't look the way that I envision that, refugee camps are tents, as they are here, a tent, and then, everybody has their little section within the tent. I guess there's more thought that was put into the refugee camps in Ethiopia. I guess maybe the idea was that people shouldn't feel as if they don't belong. You know what I mean? We shouldn't be welcoming people with open arms only to leave them to live in
squalor.
Yeah, although of course there are problems that exist there already. Not enough access to basic necessities or resources.
Dude, it's so sad. I mean, kids get only one whole meal a day.
Yeah, no.
That's like, wow.
That was heartbreaking.
Wow,
that was very
dude.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
There are just so many things that were revealed in this documentary that first I was like, okay, wait, I think I've heard of Eritrea, but okay, you know, it was definitely a history lesson for me. So I guess it's good to see that there's been a bit of, you know, I guess change that has happened in the country, but of course the reality still is so many people have been displaced, essentially. You know what I mean? So many people are still living outside of their country, and now it's like we probably aren't the only people who weren't aware of the political situation in the country. So this has really brought so many things to light, and again unpacked the issues that are very common in most African countries, that is human trafficking, and that is, you know, modern day slavery. So it was really, and poverty, of course, which we got to experience through it. And you just mentioned the kids having only 1 meal a day. It's like,
guys, it's shocking. But I think as well, there's so much we don't know about the Horn of Africa. The only thing we just know is that there's a specific country where Islamic terrorism is prevalent, and war has been happening since war, you know, modern warfare. So I think this documentary highlights how connected we are as Africans, and how they even feel that they are Africans themselves, you know, even though there's European or whatsoever mixed racial instances, but they are Africans, whether we like it or we don't, you know. And it also talks to us as Bantu. How do we relate with each other and those that are not Bantu but from Africa, you know. I think that's what I liked about it, and that's what I got to learn more about it, you know. And I found it quite funny looking at the history of Eritrea and Ethiopia. You know, these two countries, they've had a 30-year war, you know, until 94, where both countries admitted to a standoff, you know. And now today, people in Ethiopia who are of an ethnic group that is also predominant in Ethiopia, that are upright, that are literally taking up arms against the Ethiopian government, you know. I find it rather funny in a really weird way. It's what's happening, guys? Kanti, who's fighting who? It's like Basotho and South Africa. Like, okay, what's happening? You know, it's sad.
It is very sad. It's like, what, just to your point about, like, we're all Africans at the end of the day. There really isn't real reason for us to have these, you know, tensions that exist between us. And it starts with like one or two people just clashing, and then it becomes like, oh, now groups within society start to beef with each other.
It escalates easily. Very, very easily.
But again, through this docu, to your point as well, you know, we are just reminded of Ubuntu, you know, like the fact that intrinsically we care for one another as people. And I think it's really like just an important body of work, also because, you know, we have issues existing of xenophobia, and so to see the way in which Ethiopia really opened its doors to Eritrean refugees, understanding the situation, you know what I mean? Like they weren't even like questioning anything, you know, just by hearing of what's going on there, they opened their doors, despite also the bit of tension that exists between the two countries. You know, that was set aside, and the focus was on helping people. And I bring up xenophobia because all I thought was, I just wish we were always like this. Like, I don't know where things went wrong, where we stopped like empathizing, where we looked beyond our own situations in our countries, whether it be issues with jobs or whatever, and just pushed ourselves to understand the plight of another human being, and why it's so important for us to be welcoming and create space for them to live as well as we do. Even if we're struggling, fine, struggle with us, but you know, at least you know that this is a safer place. You know, you thought that this is a safer place, so live that reality that this is a safer place.
Hundreds.
Yeah, because I think it's quite unfair that anybody would ever have their freedom to be educated, to live freely, to make choices, have all of that, taken away from them essentially. It's really been shocking, the kind of experiences that Eritreans have had in the past. Just in relation to their government.
But I think for Dr. Alganesh to take us through that journey, and also to even talk about her living through her living in the refugee camps themselves, it shows how in touch she is with society, and also the kind of people Eritreans are from Eritrea. I'm not saying the ones that are in refugee camps, but she talks about her upbringing, where her mom and dad taught her to be selfless and loving and caring, and she literally gives us an example of what leadership is and what it's all about, giving people an opportunity to live and grow, Sure. Wow.
Her experience, having her there, was really so important, because again, we're humanizing this experience, and also because she herself is a native Eritrean, that was also such a powerful voice to have in there, because it's like, these are not the views of somebody who just observed, you know what I mean? But this is somebody who understands the pain, who understands the politics, who understands how to in fact treat her people, to create that safe space for them, and help them grow as well, help them achieve what they want to achieve, especially the young kids, right? Helping them get to school and all of that. So I think it was really just an interesting piece of work, and having her voice there and being the only voice that that's like the dominant voice in the piece. I guess it was almost like maybe her profile to some extent, like they were profiling her and the work that she's done, and then we'll just have voices of other Eritreans, of their experience. I did feel a bit scared for the Eritreans who spoke out, I won't lie, because of the situation, right? What was going on, and feeling scared for them because they ran away from home. So I'm like, now you're going to be known by so many people, the government could easily find you and then force you back, or I don't know what the situation was. Maybe they wouldn't be able to do that, but that also was very, very scary to just listen to them tell their stories, but just also like see their faces. I was like worried about their safety.
Yeah, like we come from a security state, but vis-a-vis with the Eritreans, they are still going through that phase, and it would have been such a great opportunity where we could say we have a partner, we can rate ourselves according to development, we can rate ourselves with, and in terms of growth and culture and the likes. But unfortunately, there's a lot to unpack, but unfortunately we can't, because of the kind of government they have.
Now, if we were to rate the documentary on the history, on the stories that are being told, on what interest it piques within us, if how many Biltong sticks would you give it, and if there's like something that you'd be like, that's quite unique when you think of like other documentaries that have focused on countries and their history or whatever situation is going on?
I'd say I'd give it a 5. I'd give it a 5, Point one being, it's told by an extraordinary person who happens to be African, and it comes from an African perspective. We've had docus all over about Africa, and it's just people shoving things down our throats, and they are just pushing in an agenda. But with this one, I felt this is a legitimate story, which is told by somebody who's legitimately concerned about her own identity and her own people. How many Biltong sticks would you give it?
I'd also give it 5 Biltong sticks. It really was heartbreaking to watch. There's so much history that hasn't been told to myself. I don't know about other people about this country, and just the situation in that country and how it's affected its people. And it's just a lot that has made me actually go back and read up on Eritrea and what's been going on there, what happened, you know, where did things really go wrong, you know. So definitely 5 biltong sticks for me. So that gives us an average of 5 biltongs. So if you've also seen Alganesh, or you haven't yet, please go check it out. It's won a number of awards, rightfully so. You know, it's a piece of history that we need to protect, I believe. So if you've watched this, let us know what you think about it, what lessons you've taken from Alganesh, and yeah, just let us know.
And if there's a film, series or documentary that features South Africans or Africans, let us know in the comments. I'm Gomo.
And I'm Dumi. And this is the Biltong Review. Thanks for watching.
My